Hi everyone and welcome to the Free Range Diva. Today I want to talk a bit about about mental health and what is becoming known as a national malaise. And I'm just going to sit here and chat with you. There won't be a lot of interruptions, I don't think, B-roll, anything like that. I just want to talk to you today, so that's what we're going to do. If you're new here, my name is Cheryl, and if you're not, thank you for coming back. All right. So about a month or so ago, I was on a Zoom call with a group of friends. All of us have known each other since definitely college, and some of us go back as far as high school, and we all live in different parts of the country. And during the course of the call, we realized that everyone is and has been under this sort of low-grade chronic stress due to so many things. I mean, obviously, we're in the midst of a pandemic that apparently is going to get even worse before it gets better. Right now, when I'm taping this, it's coming. Everyone is talking about it's coming. By the time this goes up, we may very well be in the middle of a medical disaster with not enough hospital beds and that whole thing. So that's going to have people on edge. And although I personally see a light at the end of this tunnel, I can feel it, that we're going through something bad, but just around the corner, there is hope that things are going to get a lot better. But there's going to have to be sacrifices made between now and then. Our medical and healthcare workers are making those sacrifices right now. Huge demands have been placed on their shoulders over the course of this pandemic, and even more. They're carrying a huge weight because of our inability to social distance and stop the spread. Additionally, there's economic uncertainty. People are losing their jobs, or they think they may be losing their jobs, or they're forced to go to work when they would rather not be, when they would rather be at home with their families. There are people dealing with childcare issues. Kids are out of school when they want to be in school. And there's always the risk of children falling behind. There's the health and well-being of our older relatives, our older loved ones that we worry about. And there are climate catastrophes. Here we're in a weather pattern that usually produces wildfires. We've had terrible wildfire season. There are parts of the country that have had terrible flooding. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot causing people anxiety, worry, stress, and it's all justified. It's all there. And there are people that are grieving. I said a minute ago that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I can feel things are going to get better. There's a vaccine coming. But not all of us are going to get there. And there are people that, I don't want to talk about like the numbers, because these are individuals whose lives meant something, whose lives should be celebrated. And we should never, ever lose sight of the fact that we have lost so many of our friends and our loved ones under these awful circumstances. But it's also important to celebrate those of us, and I say us, I don't know that I will be one of you. No one knows that. But for those that make it to the other side of this, we have to celebrate that. The fact that we did it, we survived, we got there, we overcame. So I was recently reading an article from The New Yorker talking about this, what they call national malaise. And one of the things that I found incredibly positive and hopeful about this particular article is that they outlined the physical cause of why we feel so uneasy. You see, there's a part of the brain called the prefrontal cortex. And this amazing part of the brain is what makes us different from animals, from other animals. It is responsible for innovation, conceptualization, realization. And yes, I just threw in an alliteration. I couldn't help myself. But all of these of this input of this negative stimulus is handled by the prefrontal cortex, and heavy demands are being put on it because of all these multiple crises, the pandemic, our kids, our older adults, grieving, fear. And the only way that it can cope with that is to pull more blood flow. It needs nutrient-rich blood in order to function properly, in order to deal with all of this stuff. And so in order to get that blood, there's only a finite supply of blood in the body, right? So in order to get the amount of blood that it needs, it will take it from other parts of the brain. Other parts of the brain won't get as much. And so the result is we're anxious, we're worried, we're nervous, we're stressed, we are all of these things, and the body has trouble managing that, especially over the long term. We feel traumatized, like life is completely out of our control, because it is. So the body has developed ways to give the prefrontal cortex a break. And that's what I'm going to talk about now. What we can do to help, if we can do something physically to help that part of our brain deal with the multiple crises in our lives right now, then we're going to feel better. We're going to be able to better manage stress. You know what can happen when your stress is especially this low grade kind, is left to just go on and on and on, unending. And many, and especially in my case, many of the things that I would normally do to relieve stress, either I can't do or they're not working. So I was really happy to come across 3 pretty simple things that can help and that will help. So as I was saying, the body has a way of taking the burden of, giving the prefrontal cortex a break. The number one way that the body does this is sleep. It just shuts down. And if you can get a really good quality night's sleep every night, you're going to be better able to cope with the daily crises and stresses that you're confronted with. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say get more sleep, because I am someone who has spent most of her life chronically insomniac, as a chronic insomniac. Yeah, you want to get sleep, but not all the time you're not able to. And so I have done a video about getting good sleep. I'll link it. But one of the tips that I used that I talked about is grounding. Earthing. Well, it's the middle of winter, and not everyone everywhere can take off your shoes and walk barefoot for 20 minutes on the ground when it's snow and ice out. Nor do you want to take off your gloves, and another thing you can do is just like hold or press your hands into the earth or into a tree trunk to be able to get these negative ions, is what we're trying to get into the body. They help you to sleep. But I do have a few things I've talked about before. I've talked about emotional ally, an herbal remedy that has been working really, really well for me. There are teas that can help you, like any kind of Tulsi tea, decaffeinated. Tulsi tea is another herb that can help with your sleep. Something that I have been reading about, and I haven't personally tried, are weighted blankets. Now, what I did do is I put myself under, to try and get in touch with what this does to the body. I put myself under a quilt, a heavy quilt. I folded it up and got underneath it and just laid there and tried to get in touch with my emotions. And there is something primal, maybe it has something to do with being swaddled as a baby. But there is something to this. There is something that can help you. So if you can somehow close in the body and put a weight on it so that you feel like you're under something protective, maybe, I don't know. I don't know that much about them yet. I will do some more research on them, but it is something that for you to consider. If you have used or do use weighted blankets, then tell us about it in the comments below. Tell me about it because I am really curious. So if you have any things that you have done to get sleep, oh, and of course, if you really, if you are someone who practices earthing, there are earthing mats that you can get that you can sit on your lap while you're on the computer or underneath you on the bed, things like that. Moving on to number 2, exercise. You don't need a lot, just basic walking. I have a new doctor. That's the first thing he said. I was saying, you know, like it's harder for me to get my cardio going because of back injury, blah, blah, blah. And so he said, can you just walk? And yes, particularly outside, even better in the sun. Just getting mild exercise, maybe yoga, stretching, doing a little bit of strength exercising, just moving the body. One of the fun things that I have found on YouTube is the cha-cha slide video. If you haven't seen it, search for it. It's awesome, and it's a great way to, it's not too strenuous, but you do get a little bit of a cardio workout. So basic exercise can help. And then finally, what really surprised, of course you want to eat well, get your nutrients going as well. I'm assuming you're all doing that. But yeah, finally, the last thing that really surprised me is, I'll show you. Christmas lights. Do you know that retailers are reporting that they are selling more Christmas decorations this year than ever before and earlier before? There is something about seeing Christmas decorations, lights everywhere, that really lifts your mood, that really helps you to cope. I just started putting things up, but I'm going to make an effort to put more things up, to put more lights up, because just simply doing just a little bit of brightening your space, and go out and look at the lights in your neighborhood. Put your own lights up. Do the tree. Do it up. Do as much as you possibly can. We need it this year. We all need it. It's good for you, and it's good for people that see what you do. So that's where I'm going to leave it, I guess. No matter where you are or how you're feeling right now, know that we are all in this together. Whether we want to be, whether you acknowledge it or not, we really are. We're going to go through it together. We can lean on each other, on our friends, on our family, on our extended family to help get us through it. Don't be afraid to do that. And don't forget about those of us that don't make it. That don't let, it's hard to look at it, to look that kind of loss in the face. But try to remember the lives that we've lost, celebrate those lives, and celebrate the lives that are still here. Have mercy for those gone, and have mercy for the living. So if you enjoyed this, I hope, please give this video a thumbs up. I hope it wasn't too much of a downer. If there are things you want to tell me in the comments, please feel free to. If you want to send me an email privately, my email is below. Anything you want to talk about, how you're feeling, what you're doing, where you are, and what you are looking forward to once we are on the other side of this. I know I'm going to be taking some trips. That's what I'm looking forward to. So that's it for this video today. If you'd like to subscribe, that would be wonderful. I look forward to seeing you again if you do. And everyone else, thank you so very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I love you guys. I'm wishing you a wonderful day, a wonderful week. Take good care of yourselves, and I will talk to you very soon.